On the night of February 16, 2022, a large pickup truck tire sat dead center in the lane of a quiet residential street. It was an odd, isolated obstruction in an otherwise clear roadway. The location was Jacksonville Beach, Florida, a typically calm, upscale coastal community. When 33-year-old Microsoft executive Jared Bridegan stopped his SUV to move the tire, he left the hazard lights flashing and his 2-year-old daughter strapped in her car seat. As he stepped into the light to clear the path, he was shot multiple times at close range. The scene presented a disturbing contrast: a logistical trap set with military-like precision, executed while a toppler sat directly in the line of fire. Investigators were left to wonder what kind of planning leads to an ambush this cold. The search for a motive led directly to Bridegan's personal life. For 7 years, he had been embroiled in a highly contentious custody battle with his ex-wife, a legal conflict that showed no signs of ending. That ex-wife was Shanna Gardner. She was the daughter of the founders of a multi-million-dollar papercraft company in Utah, with access to immense family wealth. Gardner's new husband, Mario Fernandez Saldana, was a former military drill instructor. Friends and associates described him as a confrontational figure who acted as her primary advocate in the domestic disputes with Bridegan. This wealthy couple was eventually linked to the man police say pulled the trigger, Henry Tenon. A 61-year-old with a negative bank balance, Tenon was a tenant in a rental property owned by Mario, living in a state of constant financial instability. The investigation suggested this wasn't a crime of sudden passion. It appeared to be a transactional arrangement, a proxy murder that leveraged the extreme socioeconomic gap between a landlord and his desperate tenant. Financial records highlighted a potential catalyst: the Shanna Gardner Irrevocable Trust. While worth millions, Shanna lacked direct control. Mario served as trustee. Crucially, the trust restricted her access until she had no further legal entanglements with her ex-husband, Jared Bridegan. Her family fortune was locked. That frustration appeared to surface in text messages to her inner circle. Gardner reportedly asked friends if they knew a magician who could perform a permanent disappearing act, using the phrase funeral potatoes regarding her ex-husband. In this light, the assassination plot appeared to be a calculated move to resolve both a domestic conflict and a financial bottleneck. The planning was meticulous. In the weeks before the shooting, Mario and Tenon exchanged 35 phone calls. Surveillance footage even captured Tenon's truck performing practice runs along the specific route Bridegan took every Wednesday night. On the night of the murder, the digital trail shows a deliberate blackout. At 6 p.m., nearly 2 hours before the shooting, both of Tenon's cell phones went dark at the exact same time. Mario's military background likely informed this tactical discipline. As a landlord, he held total power over Tenon, identifying a man whose financial desperation made him a viable candidate for a high-risk contract. For Tenon, the motive was purely instrumental. With his accounts overdrawn and his housing dependent on his landlord, the plot offered a way out of a mounting financial crisis. This wasn't a random act of violence. Every detail, from the practicing of the route to the timing of the road obstruction, indicates that Bridegan's life had been reduced to a logistical problem to be solved. While the murder was tactically precise, the attempt to hide the conspiracy was surprisingly clumsy. During the window of the shooting, Mario left his own cell phone at Tenon's house, an attempt to create a digital alibi that instead linked the two men's locations. The financial evidence was even more direct. Mario wrote 3 handwritten checks to Tenon, totaling $10,000 from a business account he co-owned with Gardner. On the final $5,000 check, the memo line didn't list a service or a bill. It simply read, "Kickstarter, good luck." This contrast defines the case: a professional-style ambush followed by a paper trail that treated a contract killing like a routine business expense. Tenon originally confessed and agreed to testify against Gardner and Mario, but in a 2026 court appearance, he abruptly withdrew his guilty plea, recanted his previous testimony, and claimed he would no longer cooperate. This reversal has forced the proceedings into a new phase, with the 3 co-conspirators now facing separate, high-stakes trials here at the Duval County Courthouse. Tenon's sudden silence leaves a gap in the narrative. It remains unclear if this reversal is a personal legal strategy, or if he is still being influenced by those who allegedly hired him. The Jared Bridegan case stands as a chilling study in proxy violence. It is a story of how immense resources and domestic rage can turn an everyday object, a tire in the road, into a tool of